Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and welcome to another video in this React course, or this React playlist of videos where we're going through different React features and just playing with React and getting better with React. Okay, you learn, I learn, we all get better. Now, one thing I do want to point out from the last video where I iterated the links, over here where we did the href, you want to make sure that it's just the brackets, not quotation marks. So don't put quotation marks around the link.link URL. That was the only thing I forgot to do before the video ended. The reason is if you put quotation marks, then the link will be the bracket link URL, it won't interpolate it to be the actual link URL in the array. Cool. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to start scoping out sort of the body page and start thinking about how we're going to be able to travel across different pages. There is something called React Router that will handle that for us in the future. That's a separate package that we'll have to bring in. But what I want to do is kind of explore how to kind of think through how we could do that, and also kind of start seeing how data binding works and how the components render by doing it right here within this file. Okay, we're going to be basically doing everything the hard way, and then we'll start showing you the easier way of doing things as we go on. Okay, so what we're going to do is create a new component called body. And this is going to represent the body of our page. And this is also going to be a class component. Why? Because I want to be able to use state. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a lot of different Boolean variables. They're going to keep track of like what's showing up on the screen in our body at any particular point. Okay, and we're going to have subcomponents that represent different things. You'll see how this all ends up working out. Cool. So we're going to copy over our navigation class just as the template. And just put that over here under body component. And this is going to be, well, we can't call it body because there's already a body HTML tag. So what we're going to call it is we're going to call it the body. Okay, this way it doesn't conflict with the naming of other existing HTML tags. Okay, another way you can kind of get around this is you can just give everything a prefix. So I could use sometimes I use my initials, so I could just do AM body. Okay, so that way I know this is something that's unique to my project. Cool. Okay, so let's take a look here. I don't need these particular pieces of data in my state. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is as we create more sections to our body page, okay, we're going to add a little flag for them in our state. So main state, we'll say main page will be 1, and it's going to be where we start, and that's going to be true. Okay, and we'll keep adding more as we create more components to try out different things. So we'll create like a blog component that'll we'll pull in a blog from like an RSS feed, not from an RSS feed, from an API, and we'll keep trying out different things on different pages. But there we'll have main pages too, true. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a switch statement. Okay. Can we do it? Should I do a switch statement for this? Now that probably won't work because it's not all playing off one variable. We could do that. We could do create a variable that changes numbers, and then based on the number triggers a different switch. But let's keep it simple. So basically, what we're going to do here, we're going to render. So let me just delete all this. We're going to do an if. Okay, and then basically what it's going to say is that if main page, meaning if main page is true, because when you put the name of the variable in the if statement, it just basically is whether that's true or not. And we'll go from there. Actually, let's do this a little bit differently. So let me keep this here. So here's what we're going to do. Because we just want to return, so we just returned our JSX. You could do the if statement there, but it gets a little complicated. So what I'm going to do, which will be a lot simpler, is we're going to have a variable. So we're going to say let Just wanted to kind of line up with that return. There we go. Let render target. Okay, and this is just going to be a variable that's going to, in basically whatever component we want to render, we're going to assign it to this variable. And then this return is just going to return render target. Okay, and that'll be that. So then all we need to do is we just do normal if checks up here, because the only part that needs to be JSX is what's after the return. So I don't have to worry about interpolation and curly brackets and all that stuff over here. So here I can just do normal if statements. So if main page is true, okay, then render target will equal some component. So we'll say, we'll have a component named main page. Okay. And then basically we just create like a series of if statements that'll check all our booleans. And then what's going to happen is that every time, and we'll have buttons that'll have events that'll change all these booleans to true and false. And since these are state variables, every time one of these variables changes its value, the React is going to re-render the component, which means it's going to run through all these if statements again, see which ones are true. So basically what the events will do is turn one true and make sure all the other ones are off. So it'll be like true, all else false, kind of thing. So we'll scope out our pages. Actually, we should probably just do that now. We'll make it 3 pages. So we'll have our main page. We'll have a blog page. That's where we'll test out APIs, and that'll start out as false. And then we'll have a contact page so we can play with forms. And that'll be start out as false as well, not false. Cool. Cool. And this is what's kind of referred to as conditional rendering. So that way you're rendering a component, but what it renders is going to be based on sort of what's going on. So we'll be toggling all these variables to kind of toggle what this particular component in our body is going to render. And technically that body will show up after, in the app component. Here's our app component. So technically after navigation will be body. I think now we can start breaking this down. Okay. Get the parentheses on another line. And then we'll put and body. Cool. Okay, and that's essentially that's our app component so far. Okay, back to our body component. Now, basically it says it's going to render this main page component, which we haven't created yet. Okay, that one's just going to basically be some text, so that could just be a functional component. And since we're using it here, I probably prefer to define it above that. So here we'll say our main page component, and we're just going to say const main page equals arrow function, and then we're just going to return something simple. Return a paragraph that says this is the main page for now. We'll make it more complicated later on. Okay, so let's just go walk through this logic. Our constructor makes that true. Then when it runs our render function, it's going to create a variable called render target. Now if main page is true, which it should be, it'll then assign main page to the render target, which I guess I could just put a semicolon there just to keep things nice and tidy. And then I'll render whatever's inside render target. So theoretically we should see that paragraph below on our page. Let's find out. Okay, well, it looks like it's all sorts of broken. So let's see here. Contact page false. Floated unexpected a comma. Let's take a look. super this dot state main page. Oh, okay, yeah, I took out the array, so we don't need this anymore. So save. That certainly would break some things. And let's see what the next error is. JSON must be wrapped in enclosing tag. Where did I do that? Oh, that's right. Okay, navigation there. Right now they're both at the same level. So what I can do is I'll just wrap them in a div tag just to fix that problem. Slash div. Save. Because again, there can only be one parent tag, so now these are both children of this div tag, which won't take up any space, so it's just semantics. And what do we see now? Oh, we got another error. Main page is not defined. Where's that? And body.render. Oh, I think this is, I have to define it, put it as this state. So back over in our main, our body component right here. This should be this dot state dot main page. That's the deal there. And there we go. See, this is the main page. So it conditionally rendered that there. So I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll build out some of the other pages in the next video. I'll see you guys later on. Have a great one. Enjoy.